I don't know what course of action you plan on taking in this, but I can tell you for myself, give me liberty or give me death.
As a member of the Oath Keepers, I pledge to be faithful to my oath. We also pledge not to do any of the following 10 things that's listed on the Oath Keeper website, which is oathkeepers.org. These are the orders that we refuse to obey. We will not obey orders to disarm the American people. We will not obey orders to conduct warrantless searches of the American people.
You know, the more I think back and the more I read about the FBI and its inception, that its prime function always was to handle political dissent. I really think so more and more.
You're watching 7 News at 10 in HD.
A guilty verdict tonight in the child sex assault trial of Charles Dyer in Duncan.
The jury reached a decision after deliberating for about 4 hours. Dyer testified in his own defense today and became emotional on the stand. He screamed that he had never touched his young accuser or had sex with her. Dyer showed no emotion when the verdict was read, but members of his family and the victim's family broke down in tears. The jury recommended a 30-year sentence. This was the third time prosecutors had tried the case after the 2 previous attempts ended in mistrials, one because of a hung jury.
Peace and blessings. It's Sunday, March the 24th, the year 2019. And it is with a sober and heavy heart that I want to remind you guys about Charles Dyer, who has sat nearly 7 years as an innocent man in a state prison in Oklahoma. Through divine intervention and with help from a good friend of Charles Dyer, my friend, the Texas deacon, and I got a chance to drive up to Oklahoma and spend about 6.5 hours visiting and fellowshipping with Charles Dyer. This is one of America's brightest, best, and brightest patriots. And we must not forget that he was set up and targeted because he would not sell out his integrity. Charles Dyer told me that the feds approached him and said they could make all of this go away if he would just become an FBI informant and infiltrate America's militias, but he refused to do so. We know that same proposal was made to Randy Weaver, that they wanted Randy Weaver to become an infiltrator within the militia movement in America. We know the feds are terrified of the American militia, and they want to do their best to disrupt any attempt at organizing a militia. And yet Charles Dyer was a strong military leader who believed in the militia. We also know that during the third trial that key evidence was withheld from the jury. And I believe that the lawyers were paid off to sell Charles down the river. We have a webpage that we have set up called July4Patriot.com. I pray you go there and watch Charles's videos. Read a document called Operation Floodlight. The charges against Charles are very heinous, but they did that on purpose in order that we would turn our backs on him and not look at the evidence. But if you take the time to research the case, you will realize that someone got to Charles's wife in the middle of a bitter custody battle. And Charles was targeted by the federal government through a weakness they found in his wife, who I consider a viciously vindictive, pill-popping, Jezebel, succubus whore. who turned on Charles and coached the daughter to testify against her own father. I believe with every fiber of my being that Charles is innocent of these heinous crimes, and Operation Floodlight will give you all of the details. Critical evidence was withheld during the third trial from the jury. Charles does not need to spend the next 23 years in prison after already spending 7 years in prison as an innocent man.
March 24th, 2019, I'm sure that is my birthday. I'm 76 years old. We're in Lexington, Oklahoma, just south of Oklahoma City, I believe. And we're here to visit a Charles Dyer, one of America's many political prisoners. He is a war veteran, Marine, served our country well. And I understand it correctly, after 3 trials on the same charge, they finally got him in jail. And we're here to visit him, give him a little comfort, and I don't know what else we can do for the man, other than, like the scripture said, visit those that are in prison. Today we're going to visit.
I don't know what course of action you plan on taking in this, but I can tell you for myself, give me liberty or give me death.
As a member of the Oath Keepers, I pledge to be faithful to my oath. We also pledge not to do any of the following 10 things that's listed on the Oath Keeper website, which is oathkeepers.org. These are the orders that we refuse to obey. We will not obey orders to disarm the American people.
Me and Rudy just had a very good visit with July4Patriot. Here we're in Oklahoma State Prison at Lexington, Oklahoma, and we had a very, very fruitful visit. He is a very open person, a very likable person, and I'm looking forward to seeing him again someday, real soon. And keep him in your prayers.
Maybe write him a letter or two, too.
Write him a letter or two.
I don't know what course of action you plan on taking in this, but I can tell you for myself, give me liberty or give me death.